Dell Technologies, ticker symbol DELL, just reported its worst day in trading history for the stock.
God, please, no! No!
The company at one point today was down 23%.
Fucking sucks. I want to kill myself.
Almost a whopping $50 at one point. Has bounced off of lows at $131 and is stabilizing now going into the end of the day around 140. Looking at where we were at yesterday, we were at $185 pre-market. Dropped yesterday morning and kind of just stabilized through the rest of the day, and then heading into after hours with earnings. The earnings were great, and we're going to discuss the first quarter earnings and what the company reported and what it's looking like moving forward for the rest of this year and into 2025 for the company, which was all positive. But there was one key note that you really want to take away from this earnings report that caused the stock to drop massively. Now, heading into after hours with earnings here, you can see the stock dropped from 170 down to about 136 here, stabilized out, and then this morning continued to fall and then fell today till about noon, 1 o'clock this afternoon. And then from there, the market actually turned, the NASDAQ and the Dow turned around and started to rally. And we had quite a strong afternoon here, and the stock rallied from about 130 up to 140 now, but we're hitting this SMA line here, and it looks like it's going to reject it. It will not cross above it. So pulling out a little bit just to see what the past few weeks and a couple months are looking like here. The stock has been on a rally, and if we pull back even further, we can see that the stock over the past, well, basically since the start of this year, has been on an uptrend. The stock has been following this simple moving average line, has been staying above it, has been bouncing anytime it gets close to it. You can see here it bounces, you can see here it bounced, and now where we're trading right now is a critical level because we are attempting this SMA line, which will give us an opportunity to potentially bounce and then move back up to the upside. Now, this is the biggest pullback we've seen, and like I said, it's one of the worst trading days in the history of the stock. But looking over the past year, you can see that the stock is a strong mover. It's been trading very, very well. It's been trading an uptrend. Any pullback has been followed with a run-up. Any pullback is followed with a higher run-up every single time. So this is a stock that overall, I'm not in this long term at all. I think Dell Technologies is a great one to have. For me personally, I am not in this investment in the long term. Short term, I did enter into a trade earlier in today. I will admit that. So I am in this trade in the short term. I'm looking to see what we can do here. I'm willing to add on the dips because I do believe that we will see this move lower next week. So let's look into it right now and just talk about the quarterly earnings and what they announced, because they announced a lot of really, really good information about the company, and a lot of people aren't seeing that information. They're just taking the one big takeaway: oh, they reported earnings and the stock fell massively. But let's throw out some numbers for you guys so you guys can kind of understand what we're talking about here. They reported revenue for the period at $22.24 billion, which was up from $21.64 billion, which was estimated. So a huge jump in revenue over the estimates. And then looking forward into quarter two, they're expecting sales to come in between 23.5 and 24.5 billion, which again is way above the expected of 23.35 billion, which analysts were expecting. So that's what we're looking at moving into quarter two. And then for the full fiscal year, they're looking at 93 to 97 billion in sales, which is a very, very strong margin. Very good for the stock, very strong for where they're trading at right now. And they're expecting $1.65 per share for second quarter, which would be a huge jump. So I like what Dell is saying. I like what news we heard about them during the earnings call yesterday. They reported strong first quarter sales and numbers. They reported that quarter two is also going to be really strong. But here's the key, okay? The analysts said that the principal disappointment in Dell's results was the operating margins for its infrastructure solutions group compressed year over year. Additionally, operating profits were flat compared to with the same period last year, even though the company brought in around $1.7 billion in incremental AI server revenues. So here's where you really want to take note. The analysts said that this resurfaced concerns and are being sold, the AI servers are being sold at near zero margins. Okay, that is very concerning. In other words, the company's AI initiatives were not translated into profits yet. Again, in other words, the company's AI initiatives are not translating into profits yet. So any AI work that Dell is implementing right now is basically costing them. They're balancing out. They're not making any money. They're really not losing money on it. But in the end of the day, it's a waste of time and effort, and at least at this point, because they're not making any profits on this yet. Keyword is yet, because again, this is going to be hilarious in another quarter or two when we do finally start to see profits, maybe towards the end of this year or early next year. That I have to look into a little bit more. But because of literally just the fact that AI initiatives are not translating to profits, we saw the stock dump. And I'm going to be honest, we had a strong quarter one they just reported. We're looking at a strong quarter two. Year over year is looking good. It's only just the AI initiatives, and that's what really just brought the whole stock down, and it scared a lot of people off. So I think that this is one of the easiest choices if you're looking to get into this company and you have been doing research into it. This is an easy opportunity. We reiterate that given that we're still in the early stages of the AI adoption with the continued strong pipeline and momentum around AI servers, where we think that Dell will be able to capture higher AI margins over time. One of the analysts noted in that earnings call. Again, they are in the early stages of this, and they're at zero margin right now, which is okay, because the fact that they're still early in on this means that they have a lot more room to grow. They're not losing money with this AI initiative. They're just basically breaking even. So I really, really like the fact that this earnings call took the stock down, because it gives us a great buying opportunity. And that's why I jumped into it for I'm going to call it a swing trade, because I'm looking at it for at least another 1 to 3 months is basically my time frame. Anywhere from about 30 to about 90, maybe even 120 days. Looking forward is where I'm looking at with this trade. I'm looking to hold on to it for a little bit, but again, I'm not long-term investing into this because I don't really follow the company enough. I don't need this type of company in my portfolio, but I do believe that in the short term, this is a huge pullback for a stock that in another month, 2 months, maybe even 3 months down the line, this is going to be a strong mover. And I like the fact they reported good earnings on this first quarter, and we're going to be expecting strong earnings for our second quarter. So you definitely, if you're going to look into this as a buy opportunity, I would definitely look into watching some key levels here. We can zoom on in and see what we're looking at here. The first thing is this SMA line has been an area where every single time the stock, like I said, touched this area, it bounced off of this key level, this SMA line. And yet again, we saw it today where it bounced and had a very, very strong bounce this afternoon. 131 bounced off of it. Obviously, in the shorter time frame, you can see this SMA line here is causing it to kind of restrict and create an area of resistance. But I think that will probably stable out next week. And then moving forward, I want to see this thing break back above that 140, 150 area. I think that's when we gain momentum again, because you can kind of see some restriction through this 150 area up here. So if we draw the line here around 150 as a resistance level, and then we kind of draw support actually closer to this level down here, and then you can kind of see now we have this sideways trading with resistance and support. So ideally, I don't want to see this go below about 130, 125 area, because then I will be a little more concerned. Obviously, we do have more support down here around 118 to 120, but ideally, this kind of stabilizes out between 130 to 140, and then we surge back up to the upside. Breaking through 150 is going to be a key level. I'll start to take profits if we can get back up to 165, 170. So this could be a shorter trade than I expect, depending on what the bounce looks like. So that's what I'm looking like, is through 30 to 60, even the next 90 days. The way that this trades is, I believe in the next week or two, we'll see this thing pull back a little bit, stable out around 125, 130 in that area. And then if you need to add more, you can buy in the dips, stabilize your overall investment, so you get to figure out how much your initial investment is and how much risk you're willing to take on this. And real quick, if we just pull up a price target, you can see right here the average price target is 155. That's the sweet spot. The higher price targets are up to 185, and the low price targets are down to 97. So it's quite a big range, but I see that there's a lot more upside, and we had a lot more price target upgrades recently. If you look through the earnings call, up to that 160, 170, 180 area. So I like the odds in the short term. It'll stable out, it may pull back a little bit, and then from there on, I think that we again, start to see an uptrend if we can follow this red SMA line here and continue to uptrend like we have been through most of this year so far. So this is a strong mover. It's a strong stock. I believe that in the short term, it's going to be a stabilizer, and then we're going to see some strong momentum once we get going again. Again, this was only a short-term hiccup that really caused this thing to pull back way more than I think it really should have. But that's a great buying opportunity for somebody trying to get into this name at a good price. So guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think about the stock. If you guys are new to the channel, why don't you hit that subscribe button, like the video. It gives me a lot of support around here. And comment down below what you guys think about the stock Dell, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, everybody.